Alright, this video's going to be a little bit more blank. It's just going to be a black thing, and the reason for that is this one's going to be more of a personal thing, because along with my channel being a gaming channel, I want it to be kind of unique in a way that it's more a combination of me and who I am and gaming stuff. And the me part is going to be very slow at getting out there and everything, just because of my personality disorders and who I am and everything. But let me just go ahead and I guess start here, and I want to just go ahead and explain a little piece about who I am. Something that's probably like a huge step for me for just explaining it, because I never really explain stuff like this. I normally block it out and go all cold towards it and never bring it up or talk about it, and that's just because that's who I am, and I don't like dealing with that stuff. I don't like going and doing anything about it. I just like to ignore it and just deal with it on my own. I don't like speaking about it. It's just who I am. So what this is going to be about for a piece of my life is going to be explaining like a little bit about depression and pills and everything, like antidepressants. This is like true stuff, so yeah. So, as I was growing up and everything, as far back as we know, I've had depression, and like I do right now too, as well. Like, it's like literally, I do have depression and everything. There's never a day where I actually feel happy. I cannot honestly say I've ever felt happy or know what happy actually is. I don't even know if I can ever feel happy. If I've lived my entire life without ever feeling it, it seems a little impossible to me to ever be able to feel it or even comprehend it if I feel it at all. So, what I do feel is like, I just feel like just complete crap where I just do not want to move and just feel like giving up a lot. And I've given up on things in my life a lot, and I've had to, otherwise I would have met with even greater disappointment. There's no real shame in giving up on things as long as you just accept reality, because there are things in life where giving up is the only option and is the best option, so, you know, whatever. So, yeah, I've had depression like my entire life. So, along with that, I've had to take antidepressants and stuff. Now, starting back in maybe 3rd grade, I don't know, it might have been sooner than that, I honestly cannot remember when I started, but I've been taking antidepressants since then. So I was going and taking antidepressants, and eventually I got to an area where I was on antidepressant called Effexor XR. And this pill, I was on 75 milligrams of it. And actually it's what I was taking up until I got out of school, out of high school, I mean. And like finished and everything, so yeah. Now this pill, Effexor XR, is apparently really addictive and everything, and when I was put on it, I was never told it's addictive. I was never told anything bad about it. I was just told, yeah, antidepressant here, you put you on this because the other stuff, Prozac, isn't working anymore. So I was put on Effexor XR, 75 milligrams, and every once in a while, my body would become a little more immune to it, because it has, your body builds up a resistance with repeated drug use. So my body was building up resistance, and every time it did, my dosage was upped by 75 more milligrams, so it was just increased every time. So what happened is, eventually I was up to 150 milligrams, then I was up to 225 milligrams, which I think is the legal limit. Then some reason, I was also bumped up to 300 milligrams, and that's 300 milligrams a day. I'm not saying like a week or something, that's freaking 4 pills a day, and it sucked. And on to with the what's it called, the addictive part. So this part, it sucked. So when I was actually in high school, I was getting in trouble a lot and everything, because I'd miss my pills for a day, and whenever I missed my pills, I would always get in trouble. I would either get freaking suspended, or just have parents called or get in trouble in some way that it was pretty bad. And like the teachers and everything got scared of me. The students like got scared of me, because you know, I was known like throughout the entire school, and people were fucking scared of me because I was like, I don't even know, I was just someone who people are fucking scared of. And that's actually a little weird because actually growing up in grade school and middle school, people were always picking on me and being mean to me and everything. Then after a while, I guess, when I saw one of my friends get hurt when I was in 7th grade, and I actually froze, like, everyone was always mean to me and everything. I was having trouble at home with family issues and everything. But I saw my friend get hurt, and he was getting, like, beat up, like, right next to me. I just stood there. I was just staring. I was like, why the fuck am I not doing anything? I can kick this guy's ass. I know I can, but I don't think I can. So I got pissed at myself after everything was over. Like, a few minutes after, just like, I don't know. I just stood there. I got pissed. Just extremely pissed. So after that point, I was like, you know what, from now on, I'm just gonna fucking protect my friends. I don't care what happens to me. I'm gonna protect my friends and protect my family. Do whatever the fuck I have to do to protect them. I'm not actually sure where I was going with that, though. Oh, now I remember, actually. It was about the school stuff. So, yeah, after all that fight stuff happened, I started getting a little more aggressive and stuff, and started actually reacting to people's actions against me, my friends, and my family and everything, and actually doing something about it, and actually getting violent, like, physical with them. Threatening them and everything if they kept it up and stuff, because, you know, throughout my life, I wasn't doing that, but I was getting help from, like, the principals and teachers and everything, and they didn't do a damn thing. Like, they said they would do something, they said they'd call parents, they said they do all this shit. Nothing happened. It just continued happening. I was being harassed for years. It fucking sucked. Nothing would ever get changed. So, then in middle school, I started getting more and more aggressive. Then as soon as I got to high school, I had, my older brother telling me stories, like, before I got into high school, about all these stupid, senior pranks on freshmen and everything, where a senior would make you roll a penny down the hall with your nose, or else they'd kick your ass and stuff, and all this stuff. I was like, you know what? I guess if high school's gonna be that bad, where middle school was, like, basically dumb kids threatening each other, then I'm gonna have to step stuff up a bit. So I got into high school, and I wasn't taking shit from anyone. And I think that's one reason why people got scared of me throughout the school and everything, just whenever they saw me. And it was because I had this look on my face, like, you better not fuck with me or I'll kick your ass. And with my physical shape and everything, like, I don't look very strong, but to some people I look really strong, and those are, like, the smarter people. And this people that don't think I look very strong don't really realize that, you know, most of my weight is actually from muscle. Like, a huge amount of my weight is from muscle. Like, seriously, I look like I weigh maybe, I don't know, I've had people tell me I look like I weigh 270 or 280 pounds, but I actually weigh 330 pounds, so I've got a lot of muscle under me and everything. And so whenever I went around in school, I mean, and I just had this look on my face, like, I'm not going to take a damn thing from anyone. People would actually literally go to the opposite side of the hall and walk on the opposite side of the hall and stay a good distance away from me. So whenever I actually missed my pills, people got, like, really scared. Like, I've gotten pissed off a few times where if I was just left alone, actually, that's all that was really needed, was for me to just be left alone. People just leave me the fuck alone, let me just sit there and be quiet for the rest of the time of the class. There would have been nothing wrong. And what happened is, when I was trying to do that, at one point, I walked over to my next class, and then that class actually got evacuated, and eventually I was taken down to the office, and I just got suspended for it. And then the principal of the high school actually went and was like, yeah, we're just gonna make your suspension super long, and got into little areas of legal issues, and eventually I guess they realized they were gonna be doing something illegal by keeping me out of school longer than they were allowed to with the suspension. So I eventually went back and sat down and had a talk with my mom and the principal and everything, and, you know, I've had classrooms evacuated a few times before then too, just because I got mad. And so we had a talk and everything, and then it's like, okay, whenever you get mad, the deal is you you just sit there and stuff. No one bugs you, you're fine. And it took a long time to get to that point because they kept saying, yeah, we cannot just leave you in the room. We cannot just leave you alone. If you get that mad, we have to take you out. And I kept arguing, like, I wasn't breaking anything. I was just sitting still. I was just being calm. I was trying to calm down and just stop being mad. And if I was left alone, I would have been fine. And took a long time just to get to the point where they would just leave me alone and let me be. So yeah, every time I missed my pills, I would get mad, and it would be enough to where something like that would happen. So what happened then is, after I actually got out of school, I was seeing people for my sleep and a bunch of other stuff. I don't even remember. It was so fucking chaotic. Like, it was actually going on from my freshman year in high school. I started going about seeing stuff for my sleep, figure out what the hell is wrong with my sleep, why am I falling asleep in class all the time, why am I so tired, why am I always getting headaches, which my headaches actually never got figured out, no one fucking knows. MRIs show nothing wrong. It's just weird, whatever, this isn't about headaches. So yeah, I was seeing a lot of people, and one of the doctors scheduled a personality test. The personality test is what revealed that I have personality disorders. And it's like one problem that makes it so I stutter a lot whenever I'm speaking to someone in person. I'll stutter words. Like, I even do it on videos sometimes, like a word will hang or something. Like, I'll say a single letter of a word a few times, and normally I try and cut that out, but sometimes I leave it in, but it's very rare that I leave it in. But sometimes some people may have actually heard it sometimes. I don't know. So, yeah, so we found out, yeah, I have personality disorders. Then, of course, the known thing was that I have depression. Now, what they found out from the personality test is that the person that took the test and reviewed all the stuff that I said found that I actually was on a ranking list of a suicide risk scale of a 7 out of 10. Now, I myself had already promised myself I would never kill myself sometime after middle school, but they explained it and everything and said that, like, people who have a rating of 8 out of 10 on the suicide risk scale, at the time that I had the test taken, they said that anyone that has an 8 out of 10 gets put on suicide watch, which is people going in and they're watching you and making sure you have nothing that you can hurt yourself with. They're watching you constantly, being like just really prying into privacy and making absolutely sure you do not hurt yourself or you do not kill yourself and stuff. So I got a 7 out of 10 where suicide risk watch is 8 out of 10. So yeah, not much difference there. And that would have fucking sucked if I had an 8 out of 10. So anyways, why I'm bringing up the personality test and everything. That same person who scheduled the personality test and all that stuff was the same person who ended up becoming my med management doctor. What the fuck ever. And what he did is, eventually I was like, you know what, I want to get off these antidepressants. I'm just fucking sick and tired of taking 4 pills a day. I forget half the time. I want all of them. They don't even seem to do a damn thing. I still feel like shit. Because yeah, they did not really help me at all. Like, I felt like shit every day. It didn't matter if I was taking them or not. So I was like, you know what, I want off these pills. So he told me, alright, you can get off of them, and we'll schedule you to reduce it every month because they're highly addictive antidepressants. And I was like, what? They're addictive? And he's like, yeah. They're so addictive that one of my other patients is actually on the exact same meds that you're on, and they've actually been trying to get off of their very last pill. And it's been so hard for them that for 2 years they've been taking that last Effexor pill, opening it up, and counting out the little beads inside of it. And they had to count out the exact number every day. And they had to reduce that every couple months or something. 1 bead every couple months. And they've been trying to get off Effexor that much. And they are that addicted to that stupid antidepressant. And they cannot get off of it. It's that hard for them. So I was like, alright, well, I'll just go with the schedule. So I'm a stubborn son of a bitch. And it fucking sucked. So I was trying to get off this antidepressants. And, you know, the first month, it was reduced by 75 milligrams. So I was down to 225. Well, I didn't think this would be too bad, but after a week of only 225 milligram antidepressants of Effexor XR, I ended up starting feeling exhausted and everything. Then, by the time a month was up, I was almost used to 225. It took a month to, or wait, no, it wasn't even a month, no. It was a week, actually. I got off of all of my pills in a month. After a week, I was actually almost used to it. And, like, over that time, I was exhausted, but I was almost used to 225 versus 300. Then I had reduced another 75, so I was down to 150. That screwed me up even more. So then another week later, I was down to 75. Then at that 75, I was so fucked up. I was sleeping, like, 29 hours a day sometimes. Like, son of a bitch, it sucked so much. I would be awake and have so little energy, I literally had to crawl from out in this apartment where I'm at into the house in order to get food. On my hands and knees, I had to literally crawl over the pavement, over the freaking cement outside, out the door of the garage and everything, into the door of the house. I had to crawl on the floor because I could not stand. I was dizzy. I could not keep my balance. I tried standing and I just fell back down. And I could not walk. So I was crawling and I was starving because I had just slept for like 29 or 30 hours straight. And I finally got food, and then after a few hours, I just fell back asleep, and I slept for like another 15 hours or whatever, and this went on for a while. So then, eventually, I finally got off of my pills completely, and also while I was reducing these pills, and every time I actually missed my pills, I would have these, like, surges that felt like I was getting electrocuted with, like, freaking hundreds of volts of electricity, like, all throughout my body. It was like a single pulse, like all your muscles like sort of flexing all at a single time, only like flexing outward or something, sort of like they were jumping out away from your bones, sort of kind of an electrical shock, and it sucked. And the longer I stayed off of these things, the more these shocks happened. So when I was reducing the pills, this shit happened a lot. I was getting headaches, I was getting just completely fucked up physically. I could barely move. It was horrible. So after a while, like, I was off of my pills completely in a single month, and it was crazy. It fucking sucked. And I think there was only one time where I thought, it would be so much easier to just take one fucking pill and just take it to make it so these fucking shocks and would stop for at least a day and make it so I had the energy and everything, but I didn't want to. I hated them, so I just didn't take it. I was like, fuck, I want to, but I'm not going to because I don't want to. So it was like a mix. Like, I want to because it would be easier, but I don't want to because it would just cause more of a pain, and it would be fucking annoying, and that would piss me off. So, after a month of being off the pills, I was starting to regulate, and then after 2 months, I was finally sort of back to normal, but every day, several times throughout the day, I was getting these electrical shocks still. So 6 months later, I was still getting the shocks. And these shocks, 6 months later, of course, they weren't nearly as common. They would happen a few times during the day or something, but that was it. And then after a few more months, like 3 more months or something, they just completely stopped. Then, of course, 5 months later or something, I would get a random electric shock, and it would happen, and it would suck, and I would get it a few times a day, for like a week or something, and then it would just stop. Then, of course, 6 months later after that, it would happen again. And then, I think it just happened, I don't know, a couple of months ago, maybe last month, and it's been like, over 2 years, maybe 3 years since the last time it happened from this time that it just previously happened. And that is how fucked up those antidepressants actually made me. Like, it was horrible. Like, seriously, try waking up and it's 2 in the morning, everyone is asleep, you have no help, you are starving because you were asleep for 30 hours, you have no energy, you have no strength to move, but you have to. You have to do something because you are, like, literally starving. Like, there's no other way to explain that. Literally starving. You are literally weak. so weak that, you know, if you had to lift a 1 pound weight in order to get out of the way, you'd be fucked. You could not do that. You could not lift your arms. Just think of that. You could not even lift your arms. And the only way for you to get anywhere, to get food, to get the energy you need to actually be mobile enough to walk, was to will yourself and force your body, as weak as it is, to move and crawl over some hard, cold cement and carpet and freaking going on upstairs and everything and doing all this shit just to get a little bit of energy. Just imagine how much that would suck. And doing so while trying to sneak in a house to not wake someone up who has to go to work in another 2 or 3 hours and actually needs their sleep really badly. Otherwise, there could be an accident on the road or something where people get killed because he drives a truck. And let's also not forget to add to the mix that you don't want to wake them up because you don't want them to see you as weak as you are. It would suck. Not only because they would look at you differently, but because they would probably think that you're really nowhere near as strong as you try to make out yourself as being. And you actually think you are strong enough to be pretty much close to the image that they probably have for you. And, you know, there's this pride factor, I guess you can say, and there's this fear factor in it too, where if they see you, it's like, oh, damn, you feel like shit because now they see what you're like, when you really have no energy and everything. But there's this fear factor that they will look at you, and every time they see you, they will see you crawling on the ground and struggling and starving and very, very weak. So weak that anything could just walk up and kill you. And that is a very, very horrible feeling, but I did eventually get through that, and kind of glad I did. And now I'm actually not on any antidepressants, and I haven't been since I got off Effexor back years ago. And it's really weird because I was actually really right. Those pills literally did nothing for me. I feel no different now than when I did then, except I feel a little better because there's not that whole addiction aspect. And if you count the addiction aspect into the way I was feeling with the pills versus without the pills, that addiction aspect actually ended up making me feel worse. Because it didn't matter if I took my pills or not, I would still feel pretty bad just because of that addiction is looming within my head. And it is stuck there and it's a reality and everything. So, you know, yeah, I'm now off them and I've been off of them for years and I'm glad. And I'm never gonna fucking go on to the antidepressants again. But yeah, that is, you know, true information about who I am. I'll put up more information, I don't know when, I don't know, months from now. This is probably gonna really fuck me up from personality disorders and everything. But yeah, I'll put up more information about who I am eventually. I'm not exactly saying when. Maybe in another year, I don't fucking know. Sometime. That is just a little of information about me, and now you guys know a little bit of my past, and yeah, I guess I will see you guys on some other video, which actually has more than just a black image. See ya.